showtime. Make sure everything's good to go. Hello, everybody. We'll let a few people get in, make sure everything's up and going on the stream, and then we'll get started.
All
So,
right. I better watch myself on YouTube too.
yes. Yeah, let me know if you can see it, if it gets popped up. If it pops up or not.
Ah, nice. I see
You're
myself.
good? You see yourself?
You're kind of ugly.
Are you about as handsome
No.
as you are there?
I don't know where to
All
put
right.
up with that right here. Sweet. Oh, I better.
All right. So, hey, Dayn, you want to send me the link to that real quick so I can make sure everything's up and going? I can't seem to find it for some reason. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to All Things Chelonian. I'm here with two very, very special guests, very prominent names in the reptile community, Ty Park and Dayn Phillip. Without any more wasting time, I'm going to let the two introduce themselves. So we'll start off with Dayn.
Two? There's only one special guest.
Go Dayn. Go Dayn. Go
Dayn. Well, me. Well, obviously, turtle guy. Love me some tortoises specifically. Turtles are kind of an up and coming fascination. I would say. But honestly, I hate this question because I don't like to shoot smoke up my butt. But I work at Reptile Gardens. Reptile Gardens was recognized several years ago.
You grew up there,
largest reptile collection, right? Obviously we've been beaten for I don't know how long's it been? A couple months, a year now that you beat our record. How many animals do you have? Like 250?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're up to 250, and my goal is to probably get them up to maybe 400 within that couple of years.
Jeez, that is so cool.
Building cages, working with ZooMed, and then, Iguanaland has, I don't know. I mean, 2018, I've been down here since 2007. I bought this place in 2007. And quietly, I was just going to do, like private stuff, quietly breeding stuff and selling them, and then making enough money to, help conservation. And in 2018, I kept getting this, voice in my head saying, you have so many animals here, and it's time for you to share it with everybody, And I felt like it was just keep nagging at me, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna try to open up a zoo and let's make it public.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and so, and looking back, golly, I think I did the right thing, but it was tough. Obviously we had that COVID, right? I mean, it was the price of everything like tripled overnight. I mean, aluminum, blocks, wood, everything just tripled overnight. And I was able to convince my wife to get $3 million out so that I could do this. And I thought that would be enough. And I spent that really in like the first, right?
The small 3 million.
Yeah, so fast. And I was gonna do it kind of. I'm not gonna say half-assed, but I was gonna do it like economically.
Yep.
The cheap way.
Yeah, once I got into it, I couldn't do it. I just wanted everything top,
Yep. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Everything right. I didn't want it to use wood. I started using aluminum. I only used the blocks. And I built some of these enclosures, like building a house, so. And that 3 million went real fast.
It did.
Yeah, you're more than double that now, aren't you?
Yeah, more than double. We're past 7 million now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so and so I did make a deal with my wife. I stopped building, so I'm not spending money. None of the money is going into doing new stuff. I also promised her that I'm not going to buy any new animals, although that was a little lie.
I've heard that one before. I think everybody said that before.
Yep.
Yeah, but she doesn't know.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not really social media, or she haven't even been here once.
Oh no.
So she really doesn't care about it.
Hasn't? Seriously?
She just she just got her own stuff to do, and that's fine, as long as she support me. And so right now the money that obviously we're not still not breaking even, and I really firmly believe that by end of the year that we will be profitable. And so right now I am supporting it. Some weeks is $10,000, some week little less, some week little more. But I'm willing to support it until it's on its own feet. And once that happens, and of course I'll start building more. And of course, ultimate goal is to raise enough money for conservation work, right? I mean, I really want to raise $500,000 a year. And my goal is to start doing that within the next 5-6 years. And I think it's very possible. Right now, even with Iguana Fest and Turtle Fest, we could probably do 150,000 easily, right?
Wow.
Yes. Well,
Totally.
I wanted to
think
talk
you
to you
could.
about. I wanted you to let everybody know some details about Turtle Fest. I know you've been very successful with Iguana Fest and building your zoos going really well, and your life goals are coming together. Your dreams are coming true as we speak. That's inspirational for young guys like me and Dayn. And the whole goal with this podcast was to bring young guys in with the veterans, the people that we look up to, and connect. So there's not that social barrier between us. I think it's something that would really help expand the community and help conservation work. So I just want to thank you guys for being on, and I want to give you the opportunity to speak about Turtle Fest. So give us all the details.
Sure. It's April 20th, right? I'm sorry, 20.
Yep, I got that on my calendar already.
No, I'm sorry, not 20th. It's April 26th. It's Saturday. Either 26th or 27th.
I think it was 27.
27th, Saturday. I'm sorry. Okay, you know better than I do.
Yeah.
I just put it on my calendar. So. Basically, it's at the end of that international iguana. I'm sorry, Turtle and Turtles Week. That the ZoomEd and TTPG is running it concurrently. So I'm hoping, and I'm talking to ZoomEd, and I think I'm going to be talking to TTPG soon too. So the whole week, I'm hoping they will advertise the Turtle Fest for us. So it'd be nice to do it together, kind of thing.
That'd be great.
Obviously, all the groundwork will be done by us and my employee, but socially, advertising and stuff like that, I believe TTPG and ZoomEd will be like partners.
That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I think, and I'm really hopeful that maybe we'll raise $100,000 for this. With this,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, we're our commercial entities, right? We're private breeders, private zoos, and it seemed that most of the public zoos, like AZA zoos, still look down on us. And it's changing a little bit. And I have a lot of friends who are in AZA, and believe it or not, I have animals from 8 different AZA zoos in the last couple of years. So I think I'm one of the few people actually have that bridge that gap a little bit.
Right.
And I want commercial breeders and the hobbyists to elevate themselves a little bit, right? By doing more conservation work. Sure, we donate money to U.S. ARC and stuff, but that's really benefiting us because ultimately is for changing the law to benefit us, right? So we really, as a group, doesn't do much when it comes to giving to conservation work. We really don't. Well, even when we raise tons of money at some of these shows, it doesn't go to conservation work. All right. it goes to like US Ark or whatever the other stuff. Maybe a little bit do go to it, but I want us to do more on conservation.
Do more, get more involved, and be more proactive with what we're doing actually involving the conservation work, having people over there in those different areas, working side by side with the people in the field, working side by side with private keepers, and getting that firsthand experience. And I think right now, in this time of life, the bridge right now is super crucial between them and us. So if we can mend a good relationship, that helps future generations of people like me and Dayn to continue to work on that conservation and be able to do kind of what you're doing right now. So you're like the pioneer leading the pack of, hey, this is good. This is what needs to happen. So I think that's awesome. And so is there anything? Continue, sorry.
The public do still think of us as a selfish group. Okay. We're all in it for ourselves. We want to try to make money. We breed animals. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with making money. Because I'm a capitalist, right? So absolutely nothing wrong with doing a good job breeding animals and making money to it. But at the same time, I want people to think a little bit more about helping conservation work, because after all, what we're doing, it's because of the animals that we took from the wild, right? It all starts with that. And we really need to think about how are we going to help conserve these animals in the wild while we're still, if we're animal lover, it should be a no-brainer.
To put them, how can we put more back into the wild as well, and keep the species alive and stuff like that. So
exactly,
I couldn't agree more that that's something that needs to be thought about by everybody and anybody that's working with these animals and reptiles,
So it's April 27th. It'll be from noon to probably like 11 o'clock because the auction goes long. Okay.
So there will be an auction.
Yeah, and of course I do need help from companies donating as a sponsors, and also I do need people to donate small items, even for auction. Let me tell you something about the Iguana Fest and Turtle Fest. Why I'm doing it. A friend of mine came to me and said, "You know what? You put in so much time into it," and I do. Literally, the Iguana Fest took me 3 months of hard work to get it there, right? All the planning, calling people, emailing people to donate stuff. And yeah, it's really tiring. But and my friend said, okay, so you raised $80,000. So why don't you just write a check for that, and then you don't have to work so hard for 3 months, right? So, and actually, I can do that, but he missed the point, right? It's not about just raising that $80,000 and giving to conservation work. It's all about that kid came to Iguana Fest, right?
Yep, the experience.
Maybe won a little poster at an auction, okay? And now he's hanging that poster in his wall, right? And it makes a difference. It makes a personal difference. It's about people donating small things or even large things. And they are proud that they participated in Iguana Fest or Turtle Fest, right? It's all about a bunch of us doing it together and being proud of it. Okay? It's not about Iguana Fest and Turtle Fest. It's not about Thai Park. It's about all of us. Okay? So that's what I'm most proud of, bringing us all together. All these kids coming and with big smiles, and they learn something from, guys like Dayn, right? I mean,
you won't learn anything from me.
No, it's the community. It's building community. One day we get together and we talk about things. We raise money. That's the most important thing. Ultimately, it's not about making, the how much money we made. It's the community that we are building.
Yep. 100%. Okay, so I wanted to move on to the next topic. Dayn, you attended your first TTPG with me, right?
I did. Yep.
Together. We got to do some pretty special things. We really kicked it off and built a nice friendship. So tell us about your first experience, who you met, what you did, and how was it?
First experience. So TTPG, man, it was a great trip. I will say that. And kind of how I got to TTPG is kind of a fun story. I'll tell you guys. But basically, I've been doing this. I've been working at Reptile Gardens since 2018, something like that. I think this is beginning of my 6th or 7th year, something like that. And so when I first started,
Tell us how old you are.
I'm only 20.
There you go.
I turned 21 in
you believe that?
So
I'm proud of you,
young guy here. But yeah, so I've always been interested in the tortoises. I kind of grew up with, for those of you who know my last name, my dad does a lot of venomous work. He is the head curator at Reptile Gardens. He does crocodilian and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up around all that stuff. He was big into the Morelia pythons and stuff like that. So I grew up around snakes. And as I got older, the interest in snakes is still there. But when I started working at Reptile Gardens, the tortoises kind of just shined through, even over the crazy black mambas and the king cobras that we have. Those try and kill and eat me, and I'd rather be chased by a 2-pound tortoise that I can easily run away from, instead of being chased by a 1,600-pound crocodile. Personally. So that's kind of how I got it started into tortoises. And when I finally graduated high school, barely graduated high school.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah, still
you and me both.
But once I kind of started working full time at Reptile Gardens, and I really started digging into the turtles and tortoises, obviously he was Terry, my dad, my boss. I call him all three things. He was trying to help me along, and actually he texted Russ Gurley.
Good man.
Great guy. When I met him, he's great guy. But he texted him about getting some literature on turtles and tortoises. And I was really busy at the time. I think he had done like 3 trips within a week or something like that, or 2 weeks. So he's really busy, and basically he just pointed me straight to TTPG, because this was in like November, something like that. So he pointed me straight to TTPG, and I was super excited for the trip. I joined the Facebook group and I was scrolling through, looking at last year's posts and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I found out about TTPG. And really in November, this was kind of my first real big important trip to me. That was just outside of visiting friends in Denver, which is like 6 hours from me. So kind of my first real big trip. So I was very nervous. But it was really cool when I first got to the hotel in Arizona. Just how accepting the tortoise people were, and I walked out into the lobby of the hotel, and there's just everybody there, and everybody just took me on, adopted me into their conversations. And even though I don't know Jack, I was listening, and that's kind of contributed to my knowledge quite a bit. And I do like to say I like to be the dumbest person in the room, and that was just very true. I'm still the dumbest person in the room currently.
Yeah.
But yeah, TTPG was great. And obviously meeting you, Dawson, and some of the other people there. Jerry Fife was there.
Yep.
Robert Krause was there. Jerry Fife. It was all these really big people. Ty Park. I'd been following Ty Park for 5 or 6 months at that point in time, and I had no idea he was going to TTPG. So actually, when I got on the bus to go to the field trip, I was going to find a seat, and he was just sitting right there, and I was like, "Is that Ty Park? Really? That is so cool." So, obviously I had to sit right behind him and bug him the whole bus trip there and back, asking them questions and making a fool of myself.
You made me fall asleep, by the way.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Just kidding.
I don't like to talk a lot, but once you get me hooked on turtles, I'll talk your ear off.
I think that's a little bit of all of us.
And I think that's kind of all turtle people. It's kind of a cultish kind of community, that's for sure.
Did you so what did tell the people about what Jerry did for us? What he allowed us to do together.
So Jerry 5, super cool guy. And I've heard of him, of course, from things in the past. And my dad and him are fairly well acquainted, and my dad always talks very, very highly of Jerry Fife, and I actually think he was kind of the one. I don't know if this is true or not, but kind of snuck in from the background and asked him if I could go to his place and kind of check out what he had going on. And at that point in time, I flew up to Arizona, so I had no way of getting to Jerry Fife's place. And somehow, for some reason, this guy that I had just met, is a really goofy guy. I guess he was invited to Jerry Fife's place and kind of offered me to, drive him to Jerry Fife's place, right, Dawson?
Yeah.
So yeah, Dawson drove me down to Jerry's place, and let me tell you, super nice guy. I now follow Jerry on Facebook.
Love his videos.
Super cool guy. I love seeing everything that he does. And I actually, since then, I've bought several of his books. I actually have his iguana book around here somewhere. I was just reading. I don't know anything about iguanas. I got messed up by some iguanas.
What? You don't know nothing about iguanas?
I know. I mean, I do now.
You got the iguana expert right there. So.
I know. And then when I did go to Iguana Land, I did get some.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about that experience as well. So
that was super cool.
Recently, Dayn went over to Iguana Land, spent some time over there with some of the people that work there, spent some time with Ty, got to experience the place firsthand. Tell the people about your experience, Dayn, and then we'll give the microphone to Ty and we'll let him talk a little bit.
Sweet. Well, so Ty Park, great guy. Love Ty Park. Super nice, humble guy. Love him. So this is the thing that I think we kind of set up at TTPG, where I told him I wanted to come down, see what he had going on, kind of visit, one largest reptile collection in the world to another, just kind of see the differences. At Reptile Gardens, we're kind of focused on the insanely venomous snakes and the crocodilians. We have one of the biggest saltwater crocodiles in the Western Hemisphere currently, black mamas. So we're kind of focused on that. I think we have less than 30 or 40 tortoises. Most of them, they're the same species.
At Reptile Gardens, right?
At Reptile Gardens.
Yeah,
we have 10
they have an amazing collection of giants walking around. I seen Dayn's
you did see that?
Yeah, don't let him fool you. Just a couple of tortoises. No, they have
nothing compared to the tortoises.
Amazing.
Land. And we do let people interact with our giant tortoises, which is super cool for what Ty Park was saying earlier. Education through fascination is kind of a thing we really love to hammer into people. We do reptile shows to kind of inform the people and educate the people and kind of start that process of learning about these animals. It's really cool. That's kind of why I got into the tortoises, was working with 10 giant Aldabra tortoises. Our biggest one's like 600 pounds.
My favorite
giant
species.
Tank. They're super cool. You should get some for sure eventually.
Me?
Yeah, do it.
I got 2.
Do you?
I have 2 Aldabras, yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Zeke and Gaia, my 2 Aldabras. I love them to death.
Really? That's sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, I love all of mine. They're super cool.
Okay, I got another question. I got a question for Ty. If you had any advice for 2 gentlemen like me and Dayn for our future in the reptile community, what we should do and what path you think would be the best for us, and you could give some advice. If you could go back and think, hey, I need to give myself this advice, what advice would you give us to that we can take into our life, into our next adventure?
Well, yeah,
Don't
that's
do
a
the
tough
math.
one. I mean, because everybody's different, right? I mean, I
Right.
grew up different than both of you. Um, so basically, I never thought that first of all, when I first opened my pet store right out of college, I never thought that I would, succeed, right? I just did it because I loved animals and I wanted to do something. So basically, right out of college, I opened up my first pet store. And I guess, and because my mother would not give me money to open up this pet store, I had to borrow money.
You had to
Okay?
find a way.
Yeah, she wanted me to go to grad school because our families are academic, right? My dad's a professor, and uncle's a doctor. It was just the way for me. And to tell you the truth, if my dad was still alive when I was in college, and unfortunately he did pass when I was a freshman in college, and I was a pre-med um, because he wanted me to be a doctor. And as a Korean boy growing up, you just do what your dad tells you, basically, right? So, and if he did not die, I would be a doctor. That's like my uncles and my even my son. Um, and that was the road that I was going to, but it was not. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do. Right? Inside, I really wanted to work with animals. That was my passion. So, second semester. I mean, I'm second year, sophomore year. After my dad passed, um, I changed my major to zoology. It was
Very nice.
triple. It's called triple E at my college, which is ecology, ethology, evolution. So, um, so I just changed my path, and my mother was really mad, but I could handle my mother. My father, when he tells you something, I just do it. It's not like he's gonna discipline me or something, but I can't take him being disappointed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it was just that way. So I changed my major and got my degree in zoology. And I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to open my first pet store, and I did right out of college. So what happened was I went to my mom and said, "Hey, I need $40,000." Back then, $40,000 was a lot of
Yeah.
money. And I wanted to open up a pet store. And she said, "No, son, you're going to grad school." so, so I already got accepted to grad school. So anyway, long story short, um, three for all my college days, I worked 30 hours a week at a pizzeria. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I worked 10 hours a night from 4 o'clock to 2:30 because the pizzeria closed at 2, and then you clean up for 30 minutes and you take a 30-minute break. So 10 hours a night. Friday, Saturday night, and Sunday, I worked. Okay, because I mean, I had a very expensive hobby, right? Reptiles, and I was collecting fish too. So really, I mean, I can't really ask my dad, "Hey, Dad, I want. Can you give me $1,000? I could go to Chicago and buy some fish." You can't really do that. Back then, I was really into fancy goldfish, and I could go to a company called Auburndale Goldfish Company in Chicago, and you could get some of the best imported, goldfish, and they were $100 each. So
Back then.
yeah, and that was very expensive, and so I did that. I worked so that I could pay for my hobby. Uh, but anyway, so I went to the bank and wanted to borrow 40,000, and the banker said, "Okay, so you need to get 20% down, and we'll give you the rest." So I needed 8,000. So I went to Paul, who was the pizzeria owner. He was a Yugoslavian immigrant, and I learned so much from him. Hard work, so important. He worked so hard, and I learned that from him. Um, and he wrote me a check.
Wow.
And I went there. And the bank was right across the street from the pizzeria. So I came right down the stairs, went right to the pizzeria, and I told them a story. I really wanted to open up the pet store, and they wanted me to come out with 20%, and my mom won't give them to me because she wanted me to go to grad school. I need $8,000. And he took out his check and wrote me an $8,000 check.
That man took a chance on you.
Yeah, he did. I worked really hard for him. And he said, he literally gave it to me. He said, pay it back when you can.
That's amazing.
That's
it was. So that's how I started. Wow. And then I expanded to 3 pet stores, and I bought his pizzeria later when he was ready to retire. And this was before Domino's was even open in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. My dad was a professor at University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, so that's where I grew up, and that's where when I started my business. But anyway, pizzeria became very successful. Serving the dorm, and it's no brainer. The college kids get hungry when they're 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah, and then I got into. I also bought a big campus bar. It was very successful, and then I got into commercial real estate and stuff, and I was a workaholic. I worked 16 hours, and I think that's one of the things that if you really believe in yourself, you have to do everything you can to make that dream happen. And I worked 16-hour days. Okay. And I never took a vacation. And the thing is, I think it's very important when you're young to focus on your dream instead of being distracted by
chasing girls, getting drunk, doing drugs, partying.
Right?
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I see too many people going to parties and stuff. To me, it's wasting, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
You could spend that time, pursue your dream. I see so many people coming home and just sitting on the couch and drinking while their kids are, playing by themselves, right? Things like that. So, but anyway, I was a workaholic, and tell you the truth, I was not a very good father. Because I was working so much, and I already had 2 kids then, and I was 38, and my wife came to me and said, "You really need to spend more time at home, and I can't just raise my kids and our kids by myself." And I tell you the truth, there was a point where we were even thinking about divorce because I was workaholic. I was addicted to work.
And it's better than drugs.
Yeah, it's an extreme case, really. I mean, it's not something that I'm proud of, but it made me where I am. It got me where I am. But that also got me a point where I made enough money that I could retire at 40.
It was a sacrifice you had to make to get to where you wanted to go in life,
Right. And I had to pick between keep going as an entrepreneur or quit and become a parent. So at 40, I decided to become a parent instead of keep going after, more money. So I did that. I stayed home, and but I knew in the back of my mind, the second phase of my life, I wanted to work with reptiles. Right? It's just gonna happen. So in 2006, my daughter got accepted to Northwestern University. We were living in Chicago back then, and that's the same year that I sent my. I'm sorry.
I said that's not too far from me. I grew up in Iowa.
No, exactly. That's why I wanted to go. Yeah, I wanted her to go there. I wanted to keep her close. And then I sent my son to a private school in Minnesota. So I was free in 2006. And so in 2007, and then I made a deal with my wife. I had a lot of reptiles in the basement of my house in Chicago, right? And she did not like that. this is a woman who is so clean. There's no dust in our house, not one speck. Right?
Not one speck.
She
Huh?
could smell bearded dragon poop 10 miles away. I mean, so I told her, look, let me find something in Florida, and then I will take every animal out of this house. You won't have to worry about it. And she said, do it. Because she didn't, and that's what happened. And I took every animal out of there, and I found this place, 12 acres, in Punta Gorda in 2007, and I moved everything over here, and I started doing work with the rock iguanas and spiny-tailed iguana, which is with Tyrannosaurus, because they really fascinated me. And then you find out that they're endangered species, right? And so you want to help them.
Right.
And back then, in 2008 or so, I bought almost every rock iguana that was advertised on kingsnake.com. And you know what? Back then, there was only maybe half dozen people who was actually breeding rock iguanas in the U.S. Blair was one of them. I don't think he's doing it anymore. But once you start working with these animals, you fall in love with them. You do want to help them, right?
Yep.
So
totally.
yeah, absolutely, and that's so important for young people to know that the giving back. I mean, the thing about my life is I found joy in giving. Okay, I used to find joy in making money, right? And it was my God. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, yeah. I mean, working hard and making a living and saving up and then put that toward your dream. Everybody should be doing that, especially young people, right? And it's very important for you guys to focus now on what you want your future to look like. All right.
Mhm.
I usually make 1-year plan, 3-year plan, and 5-year plan when it comes to business and personal life also.
Right.
Okay. And I always review it. All right. I met this goal. Okay, I didn't meet this goal. Now what am I gonna do to make that goal? Right? And you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Absolutely. I made so many mistakes. I made probably 10 times more mistakes than you guys. All right. But it never brought me down. Right? It might be down for a day because I think I was born with a positive personality. I'm always looking at the positive stuff instead of the negative. I'm never gonna say, "Oh my God, that's gonna take me down. I'm gonna quit." I never quit.
No, never quit.
You never quit.
Great mentality to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, no matter how hard it becomes, if dream is important to you, you keep going. And I had a lot of failures. I really have. There was some days like building Iguana Land is one of them. I mean, COVID, Hurricane Ian. Really, I mean, why do I want to spend almost $10 million? It'll probably come to that before I start making money.
That's why we're here, I think.
And working hard every day and missing your family in LA to do this. But I had a goal. I wanted to leave a legacy. I wanted to leave something to the society before I die. And everybody die and don't leave a legacy. So literally, my goal was to build something.
Create a legacy for yourself.
Yeah, 100 years from now, there might be a little dusty photo of me in the corner of a gift shop, and it'll be say founder underneath, and I'm hoping somebody with this much passion keep doing what I'm doing. Education, conservation, and support research. And that's what I want. A lot of people say, hey, make it Tide Parks, Iguana Land. It's not about me, because I won't be here in 20 years or 30 years, okay? It's about Iguana Land, okay? And if I want someone to take over who has same passion as I do, all right? And it probably not be my kid. A matter of fact, I know it's my not gonna be. So would it be one of my grandkids? I don't know. I mean, my oldest is only three years old. So it might be that I might be giving it to county, state, Dayn.
Dayn and Dawson.
So, but right now, I'm not going anywhere. I do have a succession plan, which is there's no succession.
Yeah.
Right now, basically, if I die by accident or whatever, it'll be my son and my wife and my best friend Bob Kraus is gonna get together and see what they're gonna do with this thing, right? And I don't know if they'll give it away, sell it, or whatever. It's not up. When I'm gone,
you have a backup plan.
Yeah. So, but I really want this to be here for a long time. I'm building it for the long run. My ultimate goal is to keep educating the kids. I love it when kids come in here and yell, scream. No, that's what I want. My employees, when we first opened this place, they wanted everything delicate. They put up signs saying, "Do not touch this, do not touch that, do not knock on glass." I told them to take them all off. Because I don't mind them knocking on the door, and I don't mind them smudging the glass. I don't mind jumping on some of my statues, because that's how they learn.
It's experience.
Right, exactly. And I have a Dayn, you saw it, the blue iguana statue.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah, and I got that from Grand Cayman Island, right? It's one of the 25 statues they made to promote the Grand Cayman iguana, and it's the only one in the USA.
Wow.
Okay, and it's also painted by Joel Frisch, which is one of the eminent artists. Matter of fact, he did all these things.
Those
right?
are really nice.
Yeah, and he painted that, right? I mean, literally, this is artist. He did all this work.
Wow. That's super cool.
Right? And he painted the sculpture. But it doesn't matter. I want kids to climb on it.
And I think that's why we're here, is because you've inspired me, and not only I'm sure you've inspired Dayn, is to shoot high and shoot really high. A lot of the guys in the turtle community, Anthony, freaking everybody in the community has inspired me to continue to work hard. Matthew, just to continue to strive to do better things and try to make things move in a forward direction. To just because I'm 23 years old and I don't have as much experience doesn't mean I can't put my all into something, and maybe someday, 10 years down the road, me and Dayn have created something special for ourselves, just like you have at Iguana Land. And that's kind of my goal here, is to inspire the next generation. As I say, I'll preach it to the choir, inspire the next generation, because without the next generation, we have nothing. There will be nothing. It will be forgotten about.
Like I told you before, we came online, that how proud I am of you two. And then I'm really, I really want the next generation to, I don't know, take the reign from us. And I think you guys are a couple of, young people that I believe in. And, I think it's very important that you guys do ask a lot of questions, hang out with people who are going to help you, right? And stay away from negative people and people who say you can't do things. You don't need them.
Yeah.
No drama.
Exactly.
Right. Hang out with people who's going to help you. And there are a lot of us who want to help you, who want the second generation or the next generation to, to do better. And that's really where I am. Make some good friends, get some mentors. That's very important. I had mentors in business, and they really helped me. I recommend that you get some mentors, hang out with the right kind of people. Don't waste time doing things that have nothing to do with your goal. All right. I got married when I was 30 because I was focused totally on building myself. All right. I don't know if you guys have girlfriends or not, but for me, I firmly believe this. If you focus on yourself first and make yourself elevate yourself, better woman will be your partner. All right. I've seen too many people, both ways, women and men. They get crazy into romance, and that's their focus instead of bettering themselves.
And if you need a good book and an example to for that point, Anthony and his wife just released a book.
Yes.
Totally devoted. So
I totally want to
go check them out. Good mentors. Dayn and we have plenty of good mentors right now. Charlie Moorcraft and Anthony are always sending me messages, helping me. I'm bothering them. They're bothering me. I'm messaging everybody I can. Jason Abels, he's been real cool to me. Like, just the community itself is huge with trying to help us as a younger generation. So I really appreciate that from you guys that kind of led the way and kind of paved the path for us to be able to base our trajectory on. Like, it's hard to aim with no target. So you've created a target for us, and now it's easier for us to take that path that's less beaten. So that's really cool that you've done that for us.
Well, get to your point. My dad told me to divide your life into third. Okay. So the first third, he said, be humble and learn as much as you can. So I divided my life into third. Like I said to myself, okay, I'm going to live to 90. So it'll be 30, 60, and 90. So the first 1/3 of your life, stay humble and learn as much as you can. Ask questions. All right. Lots of questions. And, use your ears instead of your mouth. Right.
Right.
And then second phase of your life, earn as much as you can, because money is important.
It is.
You can't do a lot of things you dream about without money.
Exactly.
That's the fact. All right. It's earn as much as you can next, 20, 30 years of your life. And then give it away. Last part of your life, be someone who could give something away, make a difference. It doesn't have to be money. It could be time, right? You could be generous with time. You could volunteer at soup kitchens or whatever.
Knowledge.
Make a difference. Get to a point where giving makes you happy. There's no other happiness other than taking, people who, there are a couple of different, there are two different type of people. People who are happy taking, and there are people who are happy giving. I want you guys to get to a point where you guys are well enough that giving become your mission and giving become your happiness. And there isn't any other life that's better than that. It really isn't.
Build joy. You get joy from giving away, and true happiness and real happiness. A lot of people think think having a lot of things are going to bring them a lot of happiness. Right. Well, it brings you some happiness, but in the end, there's one true happiness, and that's helping others, and helping build people up in the end at the end of the day. So,
tell you something. I feel almost like selfish because I'm so happy with what I'm doing. I mean, I'm doing what I'm happy. The building Iguana Land, although it's hard, it makes me really happy. I'm selfish because it's making me happy.
Right. And it's just a great feeling when you can help inspire somebody and help push someone to the next level and be a reason that they have gone so far in life. And that's really cool. I wanted to spend a few moments reading some of the questions for you guys to answer briefly. We'll start off with I've seen one. Charlie Moorcraft asked, Ty, do you have any plans to work with Florida if they plan on banning iguanas? What's the take on that?
I could tell you right now that's not going to happen. Probably not in my lifetime. I've been talking to some people. Also, I just talked to Kurt Harfmeyer recently, and he flat out says no to that also.
Good. That's good to hear.
So I don't think that's gonna be. A lot of people talk about it, but I'm confident that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna pass. All right. For me personally, because I have a zoo, I could get away with,
keeping them.
Yeah, keeping them. But even for the other people, I'm confident it's not gonna happen. So
that's good. Okay. So next question, I'm gonna alter this question so it can be geared towards everybody else. Dayn, what is the oldest resident at your guys' park? And then we'll ask the same question to Ty as well.
That's a good question. So the oldest animal we have at Reptile Gardens currently is our Aldabra giant tortoise. His name's Orville. He's actually 119 years old this year.
Wow, that's amazing.
An old man, named after Orville Redenbacher. But our oldest animal that I know of, and there could be older ones, I don't know. We had a Galapagos tortoise back in, I believe, 2012. His name is Methuselah, and he was 136 when he passed away, unfortunately.
Holy smokes.
And there might be some of you guys out there who've heard of Methuselah. I guess it's very, very big nationwide news article that kind of went around. And very sad day. We actually at Reptile Gardens have a bronze memorial of Methuselah. It's an exact replica statue of Methuselah at the playground. And tying in kind of with what Ty was saying with his iguana statue, with this bronze statue, we let all the kids jump on it and play on it and sit on it and take pictures. Because a thing that we used to do many, many years ago, and I'm sure lots of other places, 20 years ago, right? We did used to let the people sit on the tortoises. Not a thing that happens nowadays.
An old practice that was very common.
Very old practice. Reptile care has gone a long way since then. But since we've been open now 86 years, which is a long time, people who had been at Reptile Gardens, 40, 50 years ago when they were sitting on the tortoises, they're kind of bummed out about it, which I don't understand that personally.
Sorry, sucks.
But they always hype their kids up about getting to ride the giant tortoises around and stuff like that. And obviously, since we don't do that anymore, we love to let people do that over on the statue and kind of recreate these memories that these grandparents had when they were little. Because that's that's my dad also back commented just now. Yeah, I was 4 when Methuselah was uncovered, and I was actually one who unveiled it, which is really cool.
Pretty special, huh?
Doing cool things my whole life. I hate to say that kind of stuff just because
I'm jealous.
I hate to gloat, I've done more things as a 20-year-old kid than most people would in their life. Wrestle alligators, handle inland type ends and cobras and stuff like that. But it's very cool. 136 though. That's our oldest one. His name is Methuselah, Galapagos tortoise. Very
How
cool.
about Iguana Land, Ty?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. It's me.
No, you're the youngest animal.
The youngest, most handsome.
I just turned 70, so it has to be me, right? Actually, probably, I really don't know the true age of my giant, literally, my sulcata. Right?
Oh, yeah, dude. Your sulcata is huge.
Yeah.
Is it that subspecies?
It came in, well, it's a rescue.
Okay.
It's giant. Probably Sudan sulcata. And I don't even know. I'm guessing it's probably at least 100 years old. It probably came in maybe 30 years ago as a probably giant adult when we were, importing these adults, right? So I'm thinking that's our oldest. Most of our animals are pretty young. Most of the rock iguanas I've had myself and produced here. I think my oldest iguanas about 40.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They're rock iguanas. Obviously, green iguanas they only live to maybe 25. They rarely pass 80. I mean 30. The rock iguana can go to 60. I tell people 50 to 60 years for the rock iguana. I believe there's one that lived to either 67 or 69. So yeah, and they're very long lived. But I'd say that my sulcata is probably 100 plus.
Yeah.
What do you think,
You
Dayn?
know if it's
and I will say, I think we have 13 sulcatas, all rescues. I thought we had giant sulcatas, and my biggest one just died a couple of years ago, and he was like 200 pounds, huge sulcata. Wow. And I named him Kong because he's a big sweetheart. But I went to Iguana Land, and his head keeper Joe showed me this tortoise, and it was like the size of his Aldabra almost. Like,
is it a Sudanese? Do we know? Do we know
gigantic.
if it's do you know if it's a Sudanese sulcata or no?
I'm
it's
sorry?
like it's a sub. Is it the subspecies of sulcata? Like I think it's called a Sudanese. Is that what it is? Like
I believe it's from Sudanese, what they call Sudanese giants or something.
Yeah. Like okay, on to the next question. Sorry,
gigantic.
That's amazing. All right, Philip says, "What new turtle species would you like to work with, Dayn?"
Me, it's a good question. I don't work with a lot of turtles. I would love to. A dream species, and there's two. Of course, the Geomida, Spangerli, or the Japonica. And there was something I got into before TTPG, and then when I was there in Arizona, and I saw Anthony's book. It was a book I had to buy, and I was actually lucky enough to have Anthony sign it. And I'll tell you, when he asked me if I wanted him to sign it, it was the scariest moment of my life. And I wrestle alligators, right? But this guy, dude, if any of you have seen Anthony, he's like 10 feet tall. He's gigantic. And
10 feet 6.
But he's huge, and I'm short. I'm like 5'9" on a good day, wearing high heels, and I'm just looking up at this guy with this tiny book, and it's like, yeah, he can sign this for me
on stilts.
But I'll tell you what, that book is so good. I've read it at least twice now, and that's totally a species I want to work with. Another one would be the spiny turtles. I got to see my first spiny turtle and actually my first Spangerli at Iguana Land.
That's so awesome.
I don't know if you want me to say it, but he's got some baby Spangerli that are just, oh my god, they were so cute. They were so cute.
All right, on to the next question. That was already repeated. All right, here we go. Your dad asked, "Do you win when you wrestle the alligators?" Let's hear about that story. Are you a professional?
Nope.
Alligator wrestler.
That's a big fat no for me.
Let's hear it. I wonder why.
On my Facebook, you might have seen the video of me getting bit by an alligator. When was that? That was June, something like that. It was maybe even I don't know, but it was late summer, and I got bit on these 3 fingers. You can't see it, but I got a 1.5-inch scar all the way down this finger, and so no, I do not win. I get my ass handed to me all the time.
You get that with those.
And my mom, she always told me to keep all hands out of all alligators' mouths at all times.
Didn't listen, huh?
And I'm dumb. I'm dumb as shit.
So, you guys have any questions for myself? Let you guys ask if you have any questions you'd like to know about. Let me know. Ty, Dayn,
tell us about what you're doing down there in Texas.
All right, this is non-political.
Right.
This is non-political, but I've been called to the border of Texas right now. I'm currently in the Texas National Guard. I'm down in El Paso, Texas. I am currently piloting a drone, an SUAS, along the border of Texas and keeping eyes on from the sky. So I'll be down here for a little while. I didn't tell many people just because I'm not big into talking about what I do in my personal life. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep bad people from being in America as much as.
Well, we're proud of you for doing that.
I appreciate that. And things are going really good. All my animals are kept and taken care of by a friend of mine that is really professional at taking care of them. I go home often, so you don't have to worry about that. And I'm taken care of here, so everything's going good. And I can't wait to visit you guys Turtle Fest. Hopefully I see you there, Dayn, and we can make some memories.
I'm planning on being there. We'll see.
Yep, you and me both. Someday we got to go to Madagascar. We got to go to some other country. That's a big goal of mine. Is I want to go to another country with a close friend of mine and get to experience radiateds up close and other different species out there. So
that's also another species I would love to have. So
that's a big thing for me is trying to get to another country and see what's really going on, get field notes, and be a part of it. So yeah.
Well, come on with a research project, and we're the Turtle Fest will support it.
Heck yeah, let's do it, Dayn. Me and you. We'll come up with a nice project and we'll
do it.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I appreciate you guys coming tonight. Appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions, concerns, take them up with Ty. He's in charge. And, we'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.